Yo guys, Punkrat with another video. Hope you guys enjoy it and let's get into it.
So, can you play classic WoW casually? Of course you can.
Actually, Vanilla WoW is a hardcore MMORPG, you noob! Casuals get creamed, idiot! Dislike this video!
Okay, thanks, Winston. So, most people would say you need to dedicate your whole life in order to experience classic World of Warcraft. But there's a few caveats to that concept. The thing is this: if you want to raid in a really strong raid guild, smash the content within patch releases, so clearing Molten Core pre-Blackwing Lair, Blackwing Lair pre-AQ40, AQ40 pre-Nax, it would be a lot more difficult. I mean, it's doable, don't get me wrong, but really that would depend on your efficiency while playing and how many hours per week you define as casual play. And also how well you're able to stick to a consistent playing schedule in order to raid in a guild. I mean, don't worry. You won't be stuck in Elwyn Forest forever while everyone else is having fun slaying dragoons just because you can't dedicate your life to World of Warcraft. I mean, that would be terrible. We all know it lurks in the forest late at night. Horrible, sadistic creatures. Oh, damn. What was that? Oh, did you guys hear that? I don't think we're alone, guys.
Holy! The myths are true! It's a potbelly goblin! Oh man! Oh man! Oh man! Run for your lives!
At the end of the day, you really don't have to dedicate your entire being to the game in order to fully experience it. You also don't have to do that in order to fully enjoy the game either. That's really the difference, and I'll explain what I mean here. In new versions of the game moves incredibly fast. The patches are content cycles. They hit, you have new content that everyone is thrashing through, it gets cleared immediately, then everyone is crying on the forums waiting for the next patch. The new patch hits, same thing happens, but this is what's important right here. Once that new patch hits, the previous patch is rendered entirely useless, pretty much. You're essentially playing a patch release rather than playing the world of Warcraft. This makes the game entirely less immersive, and it localizes most of the player base within a very small portion of the game, nearly fully neglecting the rest of the game. If you play super casually in the new era of World of Warcraft, then and you're not even worried about pushing content or really like playing to that extent at all. It feels like you're by yourself in this massive world with busy people zipping by you, farming their little pixels, being led by a one-track game model. You interact with no one. You basically see no one. Out of daily quest zones, at least, there's no organic interactions or experiences, and you log off. Classic is entirely different. 50% of the game is the social dynamic. You'll end up interacting with 100 different people by the time you hit level 60. Whether grouping for quests, dungeons, doing business, embarking on some random adventure, whatever. You're running around this massive world with people around you that are on the same adventure. You share common goals and you share the same experience. By the time you hit max level, you'll have a ton of people on your friends list that become resources for the future. What's interesting about vanilla is you don't even have to experience the endgame content to have a good time. The game feels like a second home, a home away from home, where you can log in all day doing random things and still feel satisfied that you had a good experience in the game. I remember during actual vanilla, when I was 12 years old, it took me 31 days slash play to hit level 60. This is because I spend tons of time chatting with people in main cities, going on adventures with people trying to wall jump up Stormwind to get behind the portal, wall jumping to get above Ironforge, running lobbies through dead mines and stockades, working on professions, and overall just living the game. Those are some of the fondest memories that I had of the game back in the day, and I was hardly hardcore. I mean, I played a ton, basically all day after school and the whole weekend, but I had no real intention to raid in a hardcore sense. Yet I still had tons of fun regardless of that fact. I had great interactions and made a bunch of friends in the game, which made up for the lack of, I guess, hardcore gameplay. Today is way different because people are so much better and more knowledgeable in video games in general, so the game will move at a much faster pace from a community standpoint, which honestly opens up doors for the casual player. You'll definitely be able to play a couple hours a day, hit max level eventually, run dungeons, get gear, and then maybe raid casually. Most of the guilds will be able to down content relatively quickly in today's ecosystem, whereas back then, casual guilds would be stuck on Veil Strats for 8 months straight, just throwing their faces onto the keyboard for 8 months without being able to down the boss and then just disband the guild. AKA my first raiding guild in original vanilla. What's up, Blade Runners? The next relevant point is this. As I stated earlier, in new expansions, the gameplay that people are focused on is essentially encompassed within the current patch of the game. Then moving on to the next patch and leaving the old content completely in the dust. In new versions of the game, once the new eye level gear comes out, the lower item level stuff is essentially useless. It becomes completely irrelevant. Classic is so different from this game model. There's always valuable drops in older content, even during the Nax patch. When Nax rolls around, people will still be running Molten Core and even Zul'Greb for that matter on a daily basis. In fact, people will be pugging things like MC, BWL, and even AQ40 during later patches. This opens up opportunities for the casual player to experience the whole lot of raid content in a more casual way without committing to a raid schedule. In the new system, if you were to start a raiding guild, for instance, during the latest patch of content, you would essentially throw yourself directly in the latest raid after farming a catch-up gear set. In Classic, when a guild starts progressing during the Nax patch, they'll essentially go through the entirety of what vanilla has to offer, meaning starting in ZG, then going into Molten Core, BWL, AQ40, then Nax, fully experiencing the game even though it's on the last patch. Another interesting thing to think about in the context of a legacy server is this. I don't think the server itself is going anywhere for a really long time. This means you'll have an extended amount of time without worrying about the next expansion coming in and nuking all the old content to irrelevancy, giving you the ability to take it real slow while still experiencing the game in its whole form. I've been playing some speed clearing videos here as I'm talking, essentially to prove the point of how hard vanilla content can be stomped, especially during later patches. Each boss is taking well under 1 minute to down in these clips. That's with world buffs and everything else for that matter. That MC run took about 18 minutes, the one with the hunter in it. The BWL run in total took about 30 minutes. I used to raid with a full Nax clear guild on Warsong a couple years ago, and we would basically clear all content that wasn't Nax in one raid night. So everything from Molten Core all the way to AQ40 including Cthulhu in one raid night. When the server is more mature, you'll be able to tag along raids without absolute dedication to the game for sure. If you want to play casually, but also catch that early wave of raid progress, I'd suggest to probably go really hard for the first month or so of release, then curb your game time once you're established in raiding already. If you set all your ducks in a row early during launch, you can probably then relax, just log in, get some consumes before raid, and then log off. I've seen this a lot, even for main tanks. One of my old Nax guilds, our main tank went really hard during the early days of progress, but once things became more steady, he would essentially log on 5 minutes before raid, and then log off, and we would never see him again until the next raid. It wasn't the best situation from a main tank, but at least he was there every single raid, which is the most important thing from a main tank aside from skill. In conclusion, Classic WoW is definitely more hardcore in a lot of ways than the current version of the game. Ironically though, even with that being said, I still think the game has a place for the casual player. In fact, I think Classic WoW in some ways is more casual friendly, unintentionally of course. The game is just fun. It's an open world where you create your own path, your own adventure. No matter what you do, you always have fun doing it, which is very contrary to the current state of the game. I know that I'm going to play Classic WoW quite casually, in fact, personally. I literally don't have time to play a lot nowadays, but even despite that fact, I'm still going to play, and I know I'm going to have a lot more fun than I could ever have playing retail. So if you plan on playing casually, never fear. Classic WoW will still be awesome, and I can pretty much guarantee you on that one. You may not get the experience of progressing competitively in a top-end guild, but you'll definitely get the full vanilla WoW experience regardless of that fact. I've been battling the YouTube algorithm here for the last couple months. Every time I make a video that's slightly controversial, it seems to get suppressed by the algorithm. Due to that fact, I have no choice but to stop swearing entirely in my videos, as well as censoring myself in other ways. I'm still going to release some toxic content regularly, but I'm going to have to be more calculated with that going forward. If you guys want to catch some of those videos, make sure to visit my channel page. All my least viewed videos are the ones being suppressed by the algorithm. Quite frankly, those are the videos that I enjoy making the most, and I think some of you guys might like them a lot more than some of my more cookie cutter, boring ass content. So check it out if you want. Also, Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because every time I make a controversial video, it almost never shows up on suggested video. That aspect of promotion gets completely suppressed by the algorithm. So the only way you can get that video popping up is by subscribing to notifications. After some thought, I've also decided to create a community Discord channel. I'm pretty bad when it comes to this sort of thing. I'm not exactly a social butterfly, but a lot of you guys have shown me a ton of love in the comments section, and I'd love to create an environment where we can get some banter between like-minded individuals back and forth. I know Cargos does a great job with his Discord channel with events and all kinds of stuff. You should check out his channel, by the way. He's an alright dude. I'm not promising I'll be able to deliver on the same kind of events and whatever, since I basically work like 12 hours a day between my job, these videos, and another project that I'm working on. But I'm basically always on Discord, and I definitely will be present every single day. I also want to say that my Discord will be an absolute free speech zone. You could say off the wall-ish as much as you want. And I definitely won't ban you unless you're inciting violence, spamming, something along those lines. Let's see where it goes. I put the link for the Discord channel in the description. I look forward to waking up to the most dankest of memes in the morning. Hopefully I'll see you guys there, and thanks for watching.